All right, pitches. Let's talk pitches for a few seconds. Ideally, when you go, I would suggest you have prepared 3 different levels of pitches. One is your one sentence. What do they call this in Hollywood? Is this the elevator?
Elevator.
Yeah, this is the elevator. What do they call a log line too? This is your log line.
Elevator's usually 30 seconds.
Yeah, elevator's a little bit longer, I think. So this is your log line. Let's just call it that. Log line or your one sentence. This is, you have boiled your entire story down, your 300,000 word epic fantasy novel, to one sentence. Okay? For Mistborn. It's about a gang of thieves who try to overthrow the empire of the Dark Lord by robbing him silly and bribing his armies away from him. It cuts out almost everything, but it is one sentence. Okay? Number 2, you have your elevator. We'll call this the elevator. TDT. This is my Midwest background coming out. I want to say elevator. So your elevator pitch is 30 seconds. This is a little bit longer. If it looks like, if you usually want to start with the log line and then judge their interest. You say this, are they still listening? They go, huh. Then you go into your elevator pitch, which is a paragraph. Okay? There's a trick to saying these, and the trick is to not sound like it's the first time you've said it, not stumble, rehearse, but also not sound like a machine who's just spitting this out. You want to sound a little bit natural, if you can. My one sentence for Mistborn. 1,000 years ago, there was this great hero who went on a quest to defeat the Dark Lord, and he failed. Dark Lord killed him, took over the world. Now, 1,000 years later, this is a gang of thieves decide, okay, the prophecies were lies, the hero didn't save them, they're going to do this their way. They're going to pull off the perfect heist. They're going to go take down the Dark Lord by robbing him, bribing his armies away from him, and overthrowing the empire. That's a paragraph version of the one sentence. I kind of start with a little bit more history and things like that, okay? For me, I always, on Mistborn, start with the concept, because the concept is generally the driving force for the pitches. On other ones, I will start with the character. It depends, okay? And then 3 is your one page. This one, be ready to talk about your book, write it out in one page. You can even bring that one page with you if you get to this stage to give to them if they seem like they would like it, or if they're talking really interestingly about it. But basically, this is just, if you get to this stage, you're awesome, and you just hook the editor. You're probably not going to get to this stage, but if you do, that's good.
Another question kind of related to queries. I remember them mentioning that they don't want any information left out, that they want the twist, they want to know what happens. Is that the same way here, where they want to know?
Not really. The one sheet, yes. The elevator pitch, no. You can't, it doesn't matter. You're just trying to hook them. Doing this appropriately is kind of a skill. It is one that I have only learned after publishing the books, because I had to pitch the book to hundreds of people who come through line asking, what is your book about? Actually, I don't have to do that anymore. But early on, you'll stand at your little table at the Barnes & Noble and look at people walking by, and you're like, hi, do you like books? You're in a bookstore. Oh, you're in a coffee shop. Okay. No, you got to kind of turn into a salesperson. And a few things I learned. Fewer names is better.
You mean names of characters?
Yep. Yep. Stay away from the pitch that is, Jethro Ptolemy lives in the Ptolemaic kingdom. He is one of the Ursiwen, who are a fantastical magic group of knights that fight with a magic called... You're just defining things. Don't do that. Stay away from that. Mentioning a name is fine, but going into all your definitions of things, don't do that. Don't do that in your log line or your elevator. You can start a little bit in your one sheet, okay? So, fewer names equal better. Point number 2, pick something exciting. There should be one thing about your story, at least, that is just a good hook. What is your hook? Figure out what it is and pick it and talk about that. Your goal is not to give them an overview of the whole book in this. Your goal is to make them want to read the book. And to do that, you pick one thing that is a core of your book. Don't make it something that's like not even really in there, but something that's the core of your book that can be interesting, exciting to talk about for 30 seconds that'll make someone want to read your book. It's very hard for writers because you want to give them all the coolness about your book. You can't do that. You can only do coolness about 1 or 2 things. In Hollywood, they would tell you to use the strange attractor. This is one way to do it. It is not the only way. You can read about pitching and Hollywood pitching online. Lots of people have written about it. I suggest you go do it if you're having troubles with this. But the strange attractor is the mash of a familiar element with an unfamiliar element. Okay? It's 2 things juxtaposed become awesome. I'm trying to think. Let's see if I can pop one out. The cliched one, people always do this in movies. It's like, you know, Jane Austen meets zombies, right? That's a built-in strange attractor. Zombies people know about, Jane Austen people know about. You say Pride and Prejudice and zombies, and boom, strange attractor. That's what they mean by this. And those concepts sell stories on their own. Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians is a strange attractor. Evil Librarians by itself. Something familiar, mashed up in a different way. That's why in cliched Hollywood pitches they always say, it's like Star Wars meets Melrose Place. You know, have you heard those types of pitches that people talk about, that they joke about in Hollywood? That's what a strange attractor is. That's a Hollywood pitch. It's not a bad way to go if you've got a story that it works for. But don't think that every story you want to do is this meets this. That gets kind of old, and plus it doesn't always fit with your story. I've found people that want to pitch that have spent a little bit too much time reading the Hollywood stuff always come with the, okay, it's this meets this. And then they give their pitch and it's really nothing like either of those things. They just thought that sounded cool, okay? So, practice doing this for movies you've seen. In fact, there are websites that will say, okay, you know, pick this movie and do it, and then here are other ones people have come up with, and you can see how it goes. Pitching is hard, but you should be prepared to pitch your story just in case.